welcome back to my channel, Mariposa Homeschool. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Jatara, and on my channel, I like to show parents who are interested in homeschooling that it is possible to homeschool your kids while working full time. And in today's video, we're going to go over record keeping. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, so I thought at this point, since most people are at the beginning of their school year, it would be helpful to come out with a video about record keeping so that you can kind of start keeping those records from the beginning of the school year and start pulling some of your children's items and adding them to your portfolio. And then it's much easier to record keep instead of trying to sift through all of the child's work at the end of the year. So, I have mentioned a few of these items and how I record keep in different videos, but it definitely will be much easier for someone who is new to homeschool or is just trying to find a new way to record keep to find it all in one place. So, that's why I'm coming out with this video today. So to start, I just wanted to go over what I do for attendance. So I live in the state of Ohio, and Ohio does not require um, homeschooling parents to take attendance. We are required to homeschool our children for a certain amount of hours per school year, but we're not required to submit anything for attendance. And I don't necessarily keep attendance. What I do is, let me grab my planner. Is in my planner, I will write down when we do school. And if we have a sick day and we take time off for sick days, then I will also write that in my planner so that I know um, kind of if we're staying on track with how many hours of school that we've done or are doing. So I will have to find a good page. I'll find a good page in just a second. And you know what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn my camera around and I'll show some of the things that I'm talking about. So I'll turn my camera around for that in just a second. As far as grades go or record keeping with grades, I don't do it. Some parents do prefer to keep grades or, let's say, standardized test scores, things like that for your child. And we just don't do it. I don't find that it's helpful for my son to give him a grade on his work. Um, what we typically like to do is we like to um, go over his schoolwork together at the end of each day. So if there's something that I had him work on independently and he kind of struggled with that particular lesson, then we'll take time aside together to sit down and go over the lesson and to go over the things he missed. And we just continue to go over that work until he understands it. So there's no need for me to grade or give him tests. I know exactly where my child is at with his different subjects because I'm working with him every single day and I know what he's capable of. And so there are spots in his lessons where we will do like a review, like a unit review or kind of like a mid-year review, and there is kind of like a test to see how much of the information he's retained, and I will give him that kind of assessment to make sure that he's retaining the information that he's learning and we're not forgetting anything or leaving any gaps. But for the most part, we don't do tests scores, and we don't do standardized testing. In my state, I am required to either standardize test my child at the end of each year and submit those test scores when I submit my information to the state, or not to the state, it's to the superintendent of my school district to notify them that I'm going to be homeschooling again. Or I can submit a portfolio. We choose to go the portfolio route. So that is typically what I keep each year. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and show you exactly what I mean. Okay, guys, so this is my son's portfolio that I made for his fourth grade year. This was for last year. What I typically do is I will, and I just did want to preface this with letting you guys know I mentioned this in the um, homeschooling in Ohio video. There was a brief segment at the end that talked about um, my child portfolio, but this is going to be a little more in depth. So I always get for his elementary years, all you really need is a 1 inch binder. That's what we've been using every year, and it's been working out just fine. 1 inch is seems to be pretty good for elementary school years. I always make a little cover for him. This is just something I printed off and, put a little picture of something that he's interested in right now. And last year it was Pokemon. So this is for my son's fourth grade year. And what we do, the whole point of making a portfolio is to show a teacher. It has to be a certified teacher in Ohio. You give them a kind of a snapshot of your school year. They assess the work and make sure that the child is working to, the best of their ability and working um, up each year, so that they will sign off on that, and that's something you submit with your notice of intent to homeschool every year. So this is our portfolio. I get tabs for each one of our major subjects. And I believe I bought these tabs from Amazon because my favorite ones are the ones that have the pockets. It's so much easier to keep the work in when you have the ones with pockets in them instead of trying to hole punch everything. um, Sometimes it just makes it easier on that's what I found, at least. So we've got a tab here. So we have a tab, one for math, science, spelling and vocabulary, language arts, and reading. And guys, my son did the Good and the Beautiful language arts this year, and his language arts does encompass a lot more than just language arts. There's also art, geography, poetry, writing, spelling. There's tons of stuff that come in the Good and the Beautiful language arts. So I just wrote language arts on that tab. I did want to just clarify that. And then we have a Bible section, and really the only work we put in the Bible section is his copy work and his handwriting, because that was something we worked really hard on this year, or should I say last year. Okay, so now we're just going to go through the tabs, and I'm going to show you some examples of my child's work. Now, I always like to show a cover of what we use. So last year we did use the Good and the Beautiful Math 2, and this is just, I date the work, and this is from October of 2022. So I tried to add, and this is lesson 2, because I believe we started last year with the Good and the Beautiful, or in the summer of last year. We started with the Good and the Beautiful Math 1. I didn't include any of our summer work, just what we did during the school year. And my son did a really good job, guys. He loved the Good and the Beautiful Math. I did mention this in a previous video, but my child was in the fourth grade last year. I noticed tons and tons of holes and gaps in his math curriculum, and in part that was due to a switching from public school during the pandemic to K-12, and then switching him to homeschool. Um, and, we really were not quite good on our feet yet with what curriculum we were using. So due to that, there were lots of holes and gaps in his language art, or I'm sorry, in his math. So we decided that we were just going to take it back to the very beginning and we were going to start at the Good and the Beautiful Math 1. Okay, so if anyone was wondering why my son was in fourth grade and used the Good and the Beautiful Math 2, that is why. He did wonderful. He absolutely loved it. I took work from October. And in this lesson, this is only lesson 2. We were identifying and writing numbers through 1,000. And this is like an independent. Okay, and so I was referring to my schedule earlier regarding attendance. I will write in here. So this week I was on PTO all week. I didn't have to work. And then there was a holiday on Monday here in the US. So I wrote in that we did school every single day except for Friday. We have co op. Fridays, the first 2 Fridays of the month, we have our co op with our homeschool group. And then the last 2 Fridays of the month, we do what's called Fun Friday. And I will actually be talking about that in another video. But when we have co op with our homeschool group outside of the home, we don't do traditional book work and school work. We're actually learning with our homeschool friends. So, what we did this week, this Friday, was we made dioramas of landforms, which was really fun. My kids really enjoyed it. And then we played at the park. So we do learn and things like that in our co op. So I don't have my children do book work on those co op Fridays, but I consider that a homeschool day because we are learning. So this is all that I would do for attendance. I was sick this week and the week before. So sometimes I will write things like sick in here, like I did this day. Um, just because I like to keep track of when we do school. But this was our first week of school, and I was sick. Thankfully, my kids weren't sick, but I was pretty sick. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and informative. As always, if you have any questions regarding records or what I keep, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.